the brothers, if you're courting a woman, you should court multiple sisters at the same time. That was my advice. Okay? Hannah fired back with, well, I'm a sister looking to get married. Should I court multiple brothers at the same time? And my answer to that is yes and no. Let me answer before the gentlemen get upset, before the ladies get excited. Let me clarify. A man has the capacity to love multiple women at the same time, to be emotionally entangled with multiple women at the same time. He can do that. A woman does not. She cannot intimately love multiple men at the same time. So what I say to the sisters is this. When you're looking to get married, you need to go through the brothers as quickly as possible. Don't allow your emotions to get entangled with one brother and then he says to you, can you wait 12 months for me? Can you wait 24 months for me? You don't have that type of time, sister. You don't have that type of time. Yeah, you're on a shorter time scale than he is from a fertility and biological perspective. Okay? You don't have that type of time. So you need to go through the brothers as quickly as possible, but one at a time. Because if you get emotionally entangled with two or more, it's going to be very confusing for you. You're not built for that. Very confusing. But you want to be going through them quickly. You meet a brother once, or you talk to him once. If there's chemistry, carry on the discussion. Don't look at other suitors in that period of time. If it breaks down for whatever reason, a few days or a few weeks later, so be it. Moving on to the next brother. So that's how you girls should do it. But emotionally entangling yourselves with multiple men, it will be very problematic for you. Don't do that. Furthermore, if they get even a whiff of that, you're done, you're finished. Now you might say, oh, that's a double standard. Why can men do that? Well, it is what it is. We are built differently. We're not equal. And to the brothers, don't get emotionally entangled with a woman before you get married, by the way. You shouldn't be saying, I love you and all that nonsense. How can you love someone you never lived with? You were never intimate with? You never done anything significant with? You just, come on, this is nonsense. So you shouldn't be expressing notions of love before marriage in the first place. But regardless, sisters, don't let a brother say to you, wait for me 12 months, 24 months. You don't have that type of time. Go through them quickly as possible, but one at a time. Okay? Right, let's go through these questions. This is a good question here. How to successfully lower your gaze without so much struggle? Great question. Alhamdulillah. Well, if you're a Muslim, I'll say firstly and foremostly, the salah. Okay? Inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. Verily the salah is a barrier against fahsha and munkar, illicit sexual activities and other munkarat, other evil actions. It's a barrier for you. So the first question I would say to you is, do you pray your salawat, your 5 daily prayers, on time, all the time? That's the first thing. Second thing is, look to get married, inshallah. That will help you tremendously. Okay, and if you're not a religious person right now, but you kind of see the benefit in what I'm saying, well, it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle, but know that on the other side of that struggle is, you will be a more masculine man. All right? You'll be a more masculine man with a lower arousal level. Lower meaning that's better, meaning it doesn't take much to arouse you. That's what you want. You don't want to have super high arousal levels, guys. Yeah, you don't want to have this crazy pornista that has to, is that even a word, by the way? That has to come along in order for you to be aroused. You want to have low arousal levels. So that's the pot of gold on the other side of the rainbow for you. You become a more masculine man. For the men out there, your sexual energy is a very potent energy form for being productive. Read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He talks about the importance of directing your sexual energy towards productive tasks. You might have heard of the NoFap movement. I don't know too much about it, but I know that it involves being intimate with a woman, but not climaxing. Apparently, there's some type of benefit in that. It makes you more like dedicated to your work and so on. Apparently Steve Jobs did it. I don't know. Anyway, my point is this. You will be more productive as a man. If that's not incentive enough, then I don't know what is. I hope that helps. Am I Hafid? No, I'm not Hafid. Do Do you advise us men to talk to multiple women before marrying one? Yes. I'll tell you why. Because especially if you've never been in a relationship before, you've never been married before, if you speak to just one sister, you're going to get emotionally entangled with her and probably kill her with your neediness. Yeah, you're going to kill her with your neediness. That's going to put her off of you, and then she's going to go ghost on you. So if you want to just prevent that whole mess from happening, yes, I do recommend that. Now, it might sound like I'm trying to advise brothers to be players. No, sisters, this is in your best interest as well. Do you want a man to be all soppy and wet on you? Because that's what happens to men when we get into relationships. Your feminine energy kind of rubs off onto us, and we become a bit more feminine. And if he's just dealing with one of you at that during the courting phase specifically, he's going to be a moist one, a wet mess. So it's better for him to have his attention in multiple places, and then he'll decide from there where he wants to go. Yes, I advise that. I know that's going to not go down well with the sisters, but I don't care. It's the truth. Okay, this is a good question. Zum Idris, do you mind putting that question in the thingy, please, in the box? Because it's going to disappear in the comments. Should we avoid seeking advice from women as their determinations are often incorrect or immature? It depends, but for the most part, I will say if it comes to, if we're talking about relationships in particular, don't ask the fish how to catch a fish. Ask the fisherman, right? Because a lot of the things I talk about, women in principle don't like hearing it, even if they know deep down it's true. They don't like acknowledging, admitting it. You know, they don't like it, but it is what it is. Speak to the fisherman. Mariam, do you think the new generation of kids are growing up weaker physically, mentally, emotionally? Yes. Let me quote the saying real quick. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create bad times. Bad times create strong men. Right now, we're in the good times create weak men. That's where we are right now. Okay, let me see. Idris, you put it here. Mahdi, if you say a man can court more than one woman at a time, what if he can only marry one at that time? Isn't it the same thing as you mentioned? That makes it hard to choose and emotions. Well, he's going to have to make that decision. He's going to have to make that decision. Yeah, gentlemen, you're going to have to man up and make that decision, and be careful. Be careful. Don't try and kid yourself that you can marry two if you genuinely can't, if you don't have the resources. You know, I can't hold your hand on this. But yes, technically you have a point there, sister. Okay. Let me see this. All right, Sadie. So you can't make eye contact with the opposite sex, or is it that you can't? Okay. I believe Sadie is non-Muslim, so let's have a look at this. You can't make eye contact with the opposite sex, or is it that you can't stare at them for ages if not in conversation? Let me see the rest of this. It's a bit scary, the fact that you say men. I can't see the whole question, Sadie, but I'm going to answer what I've seen. Yes, so, I mean, by all means, make eye contact. If you need to talk to someone, you make eye contact. What I am referring to is the prolonged stare, the unnecessary prolonged stare. Let's say I'm walking in the street and I see a girl walk past me and I look and then I don't turn away. I keep on looking. That's the stare I'm talking about. That's the door that opens up so much mess, so much chaos. That single stare can open up so much chaos. It's like gateway drugs. You ever heard of gateway drugs? Gateway drugs are soft drugs. Drugs that don't really have much of harm on you. Like weed. Weed is a gateway drug. It's not going to kill you, but it's a gateway drug. A gateway to bigger, badder things. Hope that helps. Okay. This is a good question. I like this. Is your wife fine with the mindset you have? Let me answer this fairly. My wife doesn't agree with everything, but yes, for the most part, she's fine. Because my wife respects me, period. I've earned her respect. And to the gentleman out there, the more respect you command from your wife by being the man that you're meant to be, the more you will be able to vocalize opinions like mine without getting any backlash from your woman. Full stop. Because she knows what you are. She understands. She gets it. If you're a weak man, no, you're not going to be able to get away with this type of stuff. But yes, she doesn't agree with everything, We talk at length about many things. Actually, my wife helps to hone my understanding on certain topics, because often we disagree, and her disagreements help to sharpen my own understanding of what it is I'm talking about. So we don't always agree, but yes, she's fine with it. Okay, this brother keeps asking me this question, so let me get it. What does it mean in a household when two male figures start to bump heads, specifically father and son? This can happen if you're like getting past your late teens, early 20s, and you're still at home. It can happen. Having two lions under one roof, even if it's father and son, you're going to start clashing a bit. It just means that there's two lions under one roof. You know, if you can get out, get out. That's my advice. Kawistan, that's a big question, guys. Let me just go through some of these. Should men who are unmarried engage in masturbation? Look, this question here is really not a question for me. I'll tell you why. Because I'm going to answer it from an Islamic perspective, but I am not qualified to give Sharia-based answers. Yeah, it's going to come across as like a fatwa. I'm not qualified for that. I know in principle that masturbation is either disliked or haram. One of the two. Okay, but it's not for me. I can't remember. It's not for me to answer it. I don't remember. But what I will say is this, without giving an Islamic spin. The more you masturbate, the more you desensitize yourself. It's very simple. Why? The pressure you can apply with your hand is much more than the pressure inside a woman's cervix. Much more. You can apply much more pressure. As a result of this, now when you get married and you're doing what you do with your wife, you're not feeling the same thing, because it's physically impossible for her to clamp down on you the same way your hand can. Right? So be careful with masturbation, man. And also it can lead to masturbation addiction. And, you know, some of the messages I've got from some young men about the side effects of masturbation addiction, it's mad. I've had to do research on this. I didn't realize it was this much of a problem. This much of a problem. So as best as possible, stay away from it, man. Yeah, clamp down, I know. Right. Can you please share all your videos on YouTube? Yeah, that's what I do. Haley, I believe. Haley, yeah. I share all my videos on YouTube. They're all there. And you asked another one. I can't find your TikTok. Has it been banned? Yeah, it's been banned. But I've got another one. It's the same name as my Instagram name. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Okay, I like this question. This is a good question. Should a man get married to a second wife if the first threatens to leave if he does? I like that. Gentlemen, I got news for you. If your wife's threatening to leave, if you're suggesting to get married again, it's because you're not alpha. If you were truly alpha, she wouldn't dare try to play those games with you. Believe me. It's because she doesn't quite value you as that prize. You're just not quite there. She thinks she can do better than you if you get married again. This is the truth. It means you need to up your game. That's what it means. Because if she truly felt like, you know what, this man is a 1 in a million man, believe me, like I say, the more respect you command from her, the more of these opinions that I speak of, the more you'll be able to get away with. Because she sees you as the prize. Period. It's the reason why, you see, look at the likes of, what's that guy's name? Oh God, Bilzerian, Dan Bilzerian. How can he get away with having dozens of women at the same time? Okay, then he's not committed to any one of them, but he is sexually active with dozens. Why is that? Well, he's got alpha tendencies. Yes, he's got a ton of money as well. I know, fine. But he has alpha tendencies. The more of a man that you are, the more you will be able to, I don't want to say get away with, because it sounds like you're doing something wrong. But the more you will be able to assert yourself as a man. So, to answer your question, Faiza, should he still get married if the first threatens to leave? Well, I take issue with the man, really and truly. I don't recommend the sister to leave, but my beef is with him. It's like, bro, you need to man up. That's the problem. You need to man up. Right. See these questions. Just boxing. I mean, yeah, again, this is another Shara'i question, and I don't want to really answer it. But yes, short answer, yes. Are alpha males rare, or are they more common than we think? That's a good question. ESSSJXX. I can never tell you guys names from your profile. Are alpha males rare, or are they more common than we think? No, they are rare. Again, good times create weak men. Comfort gives birth to weakness. It's just the way it goes. If you constantly live in comfort, you're soft, you're weak. And in particular with the whole third wave feminist narrative that is now penetrating all areas of life, Netflix, social media, TV, you cannot escape it. Men are starting to take on and adopt these beliefs, and it's hurting them. It's harming them. It's harming their ability to be manly. So yes, I would say they are a dying breed. The proverbial alpha males are becoming more and more rare. Absolutely. Somebody wants to come on. Let's see. Crystal Mohan. Crystal, I'm sending you a... There we go. Crystal? Hello? Can you hear me? Because we can't hear you. Nope, she left. Okay. I like that, Sadie. I think submissive women are a rare breed. I completely agree. Absolutely. Again, the feminist narrative. The feminist narrative. Guys, there's a brilliant YouTuber. I wanted to check her out. Her name is Jennifer Moleski. Oh my days. I salute that woman. JenniferMoleski. She had a video up on YouTube that I saw yesterday. The title is Fuck the War Out of Men. Yes. Fuck the war out of men. Please watch that video. That's what I'm going to say. Amazing. Nah, woke mind. I like that. If you want to destroy a nation without war, make adultery or nudity common among the youth. Brilliant. How to lower standards, or is there benefit? I don't understand the question. ESS, please write that again. I don't understand the question. Okay. Why don't you subscribe to the feminist narrative, and why? You don't want equality for all. Shakiri, that's to presume that equality is good for men and women alike in the first place. All right. Let's take this equality ideology. If this ideology is sound, then it must be sound on the extremes. And I'm going to give you an extreme example. We have total Armageddon, shutdown. It's martial warfare on the streets. The people are policing themselves. Everyone's got shotguns. Yeah, there's no police. It's total and utter chaos. Who's going to the shop to get the food? If you're a feminist, you're a male feminist, then what you'll say is, oh, sweetheart, I did it last time. It's equality. Habibti, it's your turn. There's the shotgun. Off you go. Is that what women want? Ladies, I ask you, is that what you want? Do you really want that type of equality? No. You want your husband to get on his bike every single time with his shotgun and go to the shop and get whatever it is he needs to get during this extreme example I've given you, this total Armageddon and chaos. When you're in the middle of a street and someone comes to attack you, if you're a male, got a male feminist mindset, it's, oh, babe, I protected you last time. It's your turn to protect me. Do you think women want that? That's not the type of quality that they want. So my answer to you is, instead of asking, why don't I subscribe to it? I ask you, why should we subscribe to it? Jennifer Moleski. Yep. Samuel Islam. That's the one. Yeah. Okay. How to handle emotional men at home, work, socials. I like this question. How to handle emotional men at home, at work, and social. Seems like more men are acting feminine. You know, I was having a think the other day. Men who are, or young boys who are raised in single mother households tend to be more engaged in criminal activities than young boys who are raised in nuclear households. That is, father and a mother. And I was having to think about that. Why is that? And this is purely my own thinking. I have no idea whether it's true or not, but I'll share it with you. And that is, if a boy is raised just with his mom or predominantly in a feminine environment, he obviously picks up feminine tendencies. For example, he will express himself in a feminine manner when he's upset. Examples of that could be going silent on you, or stomping out, getting moody, or getting involved in, what's the word I'm looking for? Gossip, right? Tend to be things that women do, just being frank with you. Because women do not have the same physical capacity as men to express their anger. So they express it through words. Men have the physical capacity to express their anger through violence, and as a result, they do, which is why most prisons are full of men, right? There's no crime, really and truly, for expressing your anger through words, but there's definitely a crime for punching someone or stabbing them and so on. So my theory is, men who are raised in single mother households, on the one hand, they're more emotional, in touch with their emotional side, for the better and for the worse. And that's how they express it when they get upset. But because they're still men, they have the physical capacity to inflict harm. And so they do. And so they do. So you have this concoction, this combination of these emotions that they've been, feminine emotions that they've been exposed to, but they're still men. So they have the masculine capacity to inflict violence, and so they do. How to handle them? That's just my theory, by the way. I've got no clue whether that has any weight or if it's accurate. Who knows? But how to handle them? Bro, I don't know, man. I tend to avoid mixing with them, to be honest with you. If you live with them, minimize contact. That's my answer. Minimize contact. Right. How to become more alpha as a man and be on our grand purpose. I like this question. How to become... Yes, ESSJX. Thank you. I appreciate that. How to become more alpha as a man other than being on your grand purpose. I like that. Guys, you become more masculine when you spend time with other men. It's literally that simple. Men become manly when they're in the presence of other men. They do man stuff. You know, you do guy stuff. You have guy conversations, bro talk. Spend time with other men, specifically other men that you aspire to be like, masculine men. You become more manly. And I said this before, no female friends, period, dot, full stop. One more time, no female friends. Okay, yes, I'm Muslim. My beliefs are grounded in my religion. That makes me biased, as my religion doesn't allow me to have friends of the opposite sex. We got that out the way? Good. Now can I carry on? Okay. When you spend time with female friends, it's going to have an impact on you. It's going to make you more feminine. You're going to start to talk how they talk, laugh at how they laugh, be more feminine. And then you wonder why you get friend zoned. That's why you get, not you specifically, HXELAY. I'm just saying, speaking generally. Then this individual wonders why they get friend zoned. You spend too much time with them. Just as girls who spend too much time in the presence of men become tomboys. They become tomboys. Why? Because they've had too much exposure to that masculine energy. They become masculine in how they express themselves. They're like, spell me, yeah, bro. What's going on, bro? Don't bro me. If you're a sister, never, ever write bro to me in my DM. Don't bro me. I'm not your bro. I hate that. Don't bro me. It's so masculine. Do you understand? So spend time with your gender. That's my advice. Alhamdulillah. Best thing for men to avoid that is sports, anything. The best testosterone booster is deadlifts or squats. I've heard of that before. I like this. My culture, the women are more manly. They call my husband aggressive, but I really think they crave men to put them in their place. I don't doubt that for a minute. And this is why I say to you, gentlemen, don't try and seek advice on how to attract women from the women. Because as Sadie has mentioned here, secretly they probably crave that their men would put them in their place, but they don't verbalize it. They don't say it because it kind of, they feel like it puts them in a position of weakness. And the feminist narrative will not tolerate that, not even for a moment. So, you know, is what it is. Is body type an indication of one being an alpha male or not, or is it more of an attitude? Okay, I like that question. Creator, is body type an indication of one being an alpha male or not, or is it more of an attitude thing? Firstly and foremostly, it's more of an attitude thing. Yes, absolutely. With that being said, gentlemen, there is no excuse for being fat. You aspire to be a high value man. Guess what? Part of being a high value man is having a high value body, is being healthy, is not being fat and flabby. I'm not asking you to look like flipping Ronnie Coleman, but for crying out loud, get rid of that stomach, man. It's disgusting. It's awful. Keep yourself in shape. So it's not the be all and end all, but yes, you need to be in shape, man. It's part of the package, you know. وليس الذكر كالأنثى. جزاك الله خير. That will give up. SYE. Excellent, mashallah. Excellent. 3 things you wish every man knew about women of this generation. That's a great question, but it's going to take me time to think about that. Should a man explain to his woman why he did what he did every time? Right, let's just get through this real quick. Should a man explain to his woman why he did what he did every time or not? No. Okay? So long as it's not something haram or, you know, something that you know you shouldn't have done. Or no, you should not be explaining yourself every 2 minutes. Decision to do whatever it is you wanted to do. You made a call, a judgment call. That's it. That's it. Take the time to discuss with your wife if it's a difficult decision, like it's a decision that's going to affect the family, for example. By all means, have that discussion. But ultimately, once you made a decision, that's it. You made your decision. Some men like juicy girls. Everyone's different. I mean, look, depends what you mean by juicy. If she's curvaceous and, you know, she looks good, fine, so be it. But fat, no, fat's not acceptable. Fat is not acceptable. Sajid, Habibi, Jazakallah khair, akhi. Appreciate it, bro. I like that. No, never. Women don't like explaining. Do it. Explaining means you're not sure how to lead. Thank you. That's refreshing, seeing that from a woman. A woman is saying this. No, never. Women don't like explaining. Just do it. Explaining means you're not sure how to lead. Sometimes it is okay. I like that. Good. Okay, I like this question as well. I'm going to answer this question, but before I do, I'm going to give it a preface. How do you be a high-quality, attractive woman? I need to make a preface here. You know, I was having this discussion with my wife, and I was trying to troubleshoot. Why do so many women, particularly single moms or divorcees, have trouble or don't like the idea of sexual market value? Why? Because it essentially is telling them that if you're past 25, 26, 27, and you've got kids on tow as well, now your sexual market value is declining. Your desirability to man is declining, and there's almost nothing you can do about that. But what I will say is this. Very important, ladies. Every single one of you, without exception, pass through the gates of high sexual market value. It's your birthright. You are born with it. From the day you were born, you are valuable because there's no burden of performance upon you. All you've got to do is look nice and be pretty and be a good prospect to a man, be feminine and cooperative and so on and so forth. All of those good things. And you're high value. Once you get to your 22, 23, and you're in your physical prime, you're high value. All of you, without exception. Guess what? The vast majority of men will never experience being a high value man. Ever. And I'll tell you why. It's because in order for a man to be considered high value, he has to fulfill the criteria of the burden of performance. He must fulfill the criteria of the burden of performance. He has to perform. If he doesn't perform, if he's unable to provide a high level of security and stability and couples that with a high character, if he doesn't do that, he will never experience what it feels like to be high value. Now, for the men who do figure out that algebraic equation, they clock the code. Yes, as they get older, their value increases. It perpetuates with age, within reason, but it perpetuates with age. That's the prize for clocking the code, because we're not born with that right to be high value. We have to earn it. You don't. The princess in the tower, in all the fairy tales, what did she do to be a beautiful princess? Nothing. She just had to look good, make sure her hair was shining, and all the Prince Charmings will come and try and save her. Question. All the Prince Charmings who failed, who were slain by the dragon, or got killed or died along that journey, what happened to them? Who remembers them? Nothing. Wiped from history. Nobody cares about them. They failed. They didn't fulfill the criteria of the burden of performance. It's just that one prince who slays the dragon successfully. He's the only one who's considered high value. Why? Because he fulfilled the criteria of the burden of performance. So, before I answer your question, I know it's been long, women are born with value. All of you pass through the gates of high value, and it happens in your prime, in your youth, early 20s. You all pass through it. And to the young girls watching now, I say to you, take full advantage of that. Take full advantage of that. Men, vast majority of us do not pass through that gate. We just don't. Because the vast majority of men never become high value. But for those who do, they get the reward of their value perpetuating with age. Now, how to be a high quality, attractive woman? Well, that's a great question. It goes down to this. What does a high quality, high value man look for in a high quality, attractive woman? Well, he looks for, I've mentioned it before, aside from youth and fertility, which are very important, generally for most men, youth and fertility, because her beauty is in her youth, right? So youth and fertility, femininity, submissiveness, respect, cooperation. Femininity, submissiveness, respect, cooperation. If you're looking for a high value man, he's not looking for a woman to compete with him. He's looking for a woman to complement him, to complement his life. So work on those things. How you look. Are you in shape? Are you pleasant to look at? Fertility is out of your control. It is what it is when it comes to that. But how you look, you can take care of that. Your femininity. Learn how to be a more feminine woman. How to be submissive. Easily respect your husband. Don't make it difficult for him. Women have a tendency of competency testing men. They like to test men. Some more than others. Some women don't do this at all. Some women do this too much. But generally speaking, the majority mass of women like to competency test men at least every now and again, sometimes, to see that he's still a man. And men often fail it because she asks him to do one thing and actually she wants him to do the opposite. So don't make it hard for him to earn your respect. Make it easy for him to earn your respect. Those are all qualities of a high value woman, high quality, attractive woman. I hope that helps. Right. What do you think if a woman wears makeup to attract a guy? Ladies, what I'll say to you is this. Be careful what bar, what standard you are first exposing this man to. Be very careful. If you've gone and put all your makeup on and you are typically an adjustable 6 out of 10, as Kevin Samuels would say, but your makeup's taking you up to a 9, and that's the first picture you show him, or that's the first time that he sees you with all this paint on your face, the moment you wash that paint off, he's going to be shocked. The truth is, you might still look quite attractive without your makeup on. You might still look quite nice. But the drop from here to here was so significant that he's in shock. I have personally had this experience with a sister that I was in communication with many years ago. I had this experience. Her picture looked one way, and then when I met her in person, I can't explain what happened to my stomach. My stomach flipped. It flip-flopped inside out. I was shocked. I was like, this girl had all the angles on point. You know, you take the pictures from up here and all of that. Woof. A'udhu billah. So when you're first showing him a picture of you, or you first presenting him yourself to him, I'm not saying to look ugly, look nice, but save something, so that if you do get married, you have more to show. You see, you can take it up a notch, you can go higher. And he's like, whoa, I didn't realize she looked this good. Does that make sense? Psychology. It's all about psychology. Don't put it all out there looking your best right off the bat. No, tone it down a little bit. Look nice, but tone it down. Leave more in the tank. Okay. Botox, lip fillers, I got no clue. I got no idea when it comes to Sharan, no idea. Personally, I don't like lip fillers. That's just my personal thing. Cryptocurrency. I know nothing about cryptocurrency, guys. Nothing at all. Yeah, most beautiful thing about a woman is her femininity, shyness, and respect. I agree. Right. If you want to come live with me, by the way, send me a thing. I'll bring you on live. This is a good question, to be honest with you. How does a Muslim man or woman know how to perform well in the bedroom, as obviously been known as haram before marriage? You'll learn through practice. You'll be awful the first time, probably the second time, and the 10th time. That's okay. You got time to learn. It's not a problem. Questions. Right, Mariam. Okay, I like this question. This is an uncomfortable question. I like uncomfortable questions. Value in women drops. Would you say 30 plus women value that has dropped? Is there anything to still increase that value, or is it gone for good? All right. The issue I have found that ladies take with this word value is that they feel commoditized. So I'm going to replace the word value for, desirability. This is a better word, right? Because we can all relate to the word desire, desirability. Now, a woman is at her most desirable when she's young, right? Generally speaking, a 20-year-old woman, generally speaking, is going to have a greater level of desirability than a 30-year-old. A 30-year-old woman will have a greater level of desirability than a 40-year-old. A 40-year-old will have a greater level of desirability than a 50-year-old. On and on it goes. Okay? Just because your desirability level has dropped doesn't mean it's at zero. I've noticed, I think, that the issue some women take with me is that when I say your sexual market value has declined, your desirability has declined, they feel like I'm saying it's at zilch. That's not what I'm saying, guys. Ladies, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that your desirability to men was higher when you were younger. What's so difficult to understand about that? Men are about the looks, what they can see, and the looks are in their prime when a woman is young. Now, is it the whole story? No, of course it's not the whole story. There's a few other things women can work on that I've mentioned already in this live that men find very enticing in a woman. Her femininity, her submissiveness, her respect. That Jennifer Molesky I just quoted you, she oozes femininity. She doesn't look like, I don't think she's under the age of 30. I think she's older than 30. I might be wrong, but she looks older than 30 to me. But she oozes femininity. This is very attractive to a man. So work on those things I mentioned. Keep yourself in shape. Keep yourself good looking. Are you pleasant to look at? Are you fat and out of shape? If you are, you got to do something about that. Keep yourself healthy, looking well, your appearance, your skincare routine, and so on. And then after that, if you're a Muslim, of course, your iman. But aside from that, your femininity, your ability to be submissive, respect, cooperation. A man doesn't want to compete with a woman. He doesn't want to feel like they're competing constantly, butting heads constantly. I hope that helps, inshallah. Oh, God, we've got this one back again. It's fashion lovers, guys. Let's bring her on. Go live with fashion. Fashion Lovers 101, you're back. Of course she declined. Of course she declined. Right. This is a good question. How can a man identify if he is a high-value male? Answer, you don't. The women decide. Look, women are the consumers of men. Men are the consumers of women. Okay? Women will decide whether you're high value or not. Do you attract tons of women left and right? Are you able to provide stability and resources to those women? Then you're a high-value man. Women will decide that, not you. But that doesn't mean you can't work towards it. You can work towards it, by the way. It's a process to becoming a high-value male. When do you know she's the one? MB.011, I don't understand that question. Please write it again. I like this. Amen. Should parents teach their kids about sex education, or should they should let them learn by themselves? This is a great question. I think the discussion should be open. I think it should be an open discussion. I think my stepson right now is 10 or 11. I think he's watching this live. He watches most of my lives. He learns. I want him to learn. My stepdaughters as well. Like, there's discussions that happen in the household, not very too graphic or anything like that, but open discussions. We need to talk about this stuff, particularly in South Asian households and Arab households. We want to pretend like it doesn't exist. We want to pretend like my daughter, she has no physical desire. She is a Virgin Mary. It's nonsense. And then she goes and learns from Sheikh Google, Al-Allama Al-Mufti Google. Is that what we want, really? No, we have to tackle these discussions head on. I know they're uncomfortable and a bit cringy. And like when I had to have the talk with my eldest son, believe me, it wasn't easy. It was hard. But my dad never had that discussion with me. So I had to learn from the man there. I didn't want my son to learn from the man there. So I had the discussion with him. We have to have these discussions, guys. It's part of life. Right. If you want to come live, send me an invite, by the way. I like this. Feminism has ruined things for women. We had it all good in the old days. Stay at home, bake, go silence with your friend. I can't see this whole question, but yeah, I agree. I agree. Okay. Yes, this is a good question. Can an introvert be an alpha male? Of course. Look, some of us are more outgoing and eccentric than others. Some of us are less outgoing and more introverted than others. Doesn't mean you can't be alpha. Of course you can. Absolutely. You might have to break out your shell a bit, but of course you can. I like this. This is a good and important one. Yes. Mahdi, why do divorced women like to blame all men and never can accept that it's their fault? I won't say all women, but I will say there is a large mass of them. A large mass of divorced women who like to blame men. Why is that? I just think it's easier. Full stop. Think about it. It's so much easier to blame someone else for your troubles than it is to take responsibility yourself. If I take responsibility, that means I have to go through pain. The pain of acknowledging that I had a hand in the destruction of my marriage. That's painful. But if I can blame someone else, well, that's easy. I can live my life comfortably. I don't have to go through that painful learning process. And I can pretend like, you know, I'm absolutely perfect. I think it just comes down to pain avoidance, avoiding pain. This is a good question. I like this. What should a guy do if he's not financially stable to get married? You want the Islamic answer or do you want the non-Islamic answer? The Islamic answer would be, so long as that you're righteous and you're practicing your deen, get married anyway. Work hard, you're working hard. You might not be producing the goods as of yet, but you're working hard. You're trying to figure things out. Get married anyway. Allah will provide for you. That's the Islamic answer. Okay? Okay, I like this. I like this. Should you consider a girl who is witty and argumentative and sharp-tongued? I don't mind witty. That's fine. Argumentative and sharp-tongued? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah, I believe it was him who said, the woman with the long tongue has the shortest marriage. Argumentative and sharp-tongued? No, thank you. Stay away from me. No, thank you. Right. Do you think, right, okay. Do you think a wife will threaten to leave at the idea of the man? Okay, I like this. This is a good one. I can't see the whole question. But do you think a wife will threaten to leave at the idea of a second wife because she has power over the man, i.e. take the kids away? Oh, she definitely has power. That's for sure. That's a big one right there. That's a big, I've been through that. I have first-hand experience of that, for sure. And actually, it kind of beta-tized me a little bit in the marriage of my first wife, because my wife had power over me, man, with my kids. My wife knows I'm a sucker for my children. I was raised in a household where I saw my father go through a lot of difficulties with my mum whilst we were growing up. And he stayed when most men would have left. His mother-in-law, my mum's mum, she doesn't like my dad. But she said, there's one thing about your dad, I respect him. He stayed when most men would have left. This is my grandma says that she hates my father. She does not like my dad at all, because my dad made her daughter Muslim, right? My mum became Muslim. And my grandma, my mum's mum, doesn't like that at all. She doesn't like my dad. But she said, your dad, I respect him because he stayed when all other men would have left. And I kind of mimicked that behavior. I stayed through thick and thin with my wife. That's why they left me. I said to them, I'm not leaving you. You want to leave? You're going to have to leave me on your own. You're going to have to speak to a sheikh and get a khul. I ain't leaving. I'm here. You got my kids. I'm not going nowhere. So, yes, it definitely beta-tized me a bit because I ended up making concessions. And I don't believe that's the right mentality to have either, because I ended up making too many concessions. That's a discussion for another day. But yes, long story short, women definitely have the power because of this whole kids thing. And I think it's a large reason why men now are just like, a lot of men, particularly in the non-Muslim, amongst the non-Muslims, they're like, you know what? We're not getting involved anymore. We're not getting married and we're not having kids. We are not participating. Full stop. We're not participating. I don't blame them because the law hurts men. It really does. I like this. Pfizer, I think I had you on once, right? What's your opinion on masculine women? What's your opinion on feminine men? If your answer to feminine men is no, that's my answer to masculine women. I don't want a woman to be masculine with me. Men, I have a gentleman comment in the comment section. You want a masculine woman? A woman's gonna be, yeah, bro, what's up, bro? You good? Yeah. Safe, cuz? Nah. We want a woman to be soft and use her feminine qualities on us. That's how you make a man melt like butter. I say to the ladies, you want him to melt like butter in your hand? Be feminine. That's my answer. I think this is a good question. How to create more excitement in LTR, in a long-term relationship? This is a great question. I will answer it with one word: mystery. One more time: mystery. All right? In long-term relationships, you run the risk of losing desire for one another. Okay? It can happen to one of you, it can happen to both of you. And the reason why is mystery. You both are too familiar with each other. See, the problem with love is that love requires closeness of proximity. You need to be close to each other in order to get to know each other, to be able to love each other. But desire requires distance. Desire is like a fire. Think of a fire. Fire needs space and air. Think of your candle at home. How do you put the candle out? If you can either blow it, or you can pretend this is the candle. You can put your hand on top, and what happens? The fire goes out. Desire is exactly the same. It's a fire. Love requires closeness, but desire requires distance. you need to figure out the correct yin and yang for you and your spouse. So sometimes you need to pull away and get that distance between each other again and not know every niggly little detail about each other in order to give the fire that room to grow. You need that distance. This whole notion of, I should know everything about my husband and I should know everything about my wife. No, you should not. Some things are better kept unsaid. You don't need to know every niggly little detail. That element of mystery is very seductive. And I recommend you read the book, The Art of Seduction by Robert Greene. He talks about this. The element of mystery, of not knowing. Think about a Netflix series that you watch. What keeps you going to the next episode? It's the mystery, the cliffhanger on the end of the last one. They leave you on this dirty ass cliffhanger and you're like, damn these people, I'm going to have to at least start watching the beginning of the next one. At least that's what happens to me. And that's what keeps you going, mystery. And the only way to be able to have mystery between each other is distance. Desire requires distance. Hope that helps. Are Muslim non-hijabis a red flag? I mean, I wouldn't marry them, if that's what you're asking. Red flag or not? Allah, but I wouldn't marry them. Right. Right, let's see these questions. The way the questions get recorded on this thing is really random. Oh, Kara, you've been reading The Art of Seduction, I can tell. For the single women, which type of seducer to avoid? I mean, seduction is good. What's wrong with seduction? But I think you're talking about the chronic seducers, right? The rake, for example. If you guys are up to date with British celebrities, Stephen Bear. Stephen Bear is a rake, the infamous rake. And the term rake, by the way, historically, very interesting, is according to biblical description, apparently, it's the individual who rakes the coals of hell. That's the rake. Bill Clinton was a rake. Okay, men who are extremely good with women, when I say good, as in they're able to seduce them, but then they throw them away straight afterwards. Which type of seducer to avoid? I mean, you don't want to be getting involved with any man who can't stay committed to you. I said this before. Somebody asked me, what are the red flags amongst men? Well, men that find it impossible to commit. Rakes are one of those examples. The Casanova types as well, the charmer. They just can't commit for whatever reason. They can't commit. Any man who struggles to commit to you, to commit, to put a ring on it, this is a man you want to stay away from. Kara, how are you finding that book, by the way, The Art of Seduction? Let me know, inshallah. This is a good question. I like this question. Where can we find these alpha males? This sister is in need of one. Just one will do. I'm sure most single women would like to. I can't see the rest of that. Okay. I'm going to answer this as a businessman. Answer it from a business perspective. And I think I answered this earlier with Hannah's question. You need to look at the customer that you're looking for, your target customer. Now that you have your target customer in mind, you must ask yourself, what does the target customer want? Now you've identified what the target customer wants, provide the said target customer with it. But now you need to be able to advertise your product to this customer. Otherwise, the customer is not going to know your product exists. How do you do that? Well, you find out, where does this customer congregate? What circles do they hang in? If it's a religious person, this customer will be following religious pages, perhaps. If he's a businessman, this customer, I'm using the word customer, but really I mean husband, this individual will be following success pages. That's where you need to advertise. In my book, 3 to 39K that I wrote, I realized that eczema is very common in the South Asian community. Most of my customers were from the South Asian community. What did I do? I started advertising on South Asian meme pages. That's where my customers live. So identify what the customer wants, give the customer what he wants, and then advertise said product, which is you, where the customer congregates. Identify who he is, what he wants, and then advertise said product where he lives. I hope that helps. Jazakallah khair. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Cara. Okay. I like this question. Great question. Personal question. Did you have someone to look up to as an alpha male, or did you work your way up? I mean, thank you for the compliment, by the way. I appreciate that. I had my father. My father, if you saw one of my posts on my Instagram, how I describe my father. You have sharks, and then you have megalodons. My father's a megalodon. Sometimes it wasn't always good. Like, my father was a meg. He was an absolute dinosaur shark. Yeah. And I learned how to become a man from him, quite honestly. I really did. He was a real force to be reckoned with when I was younger. A real force to be reckoned with. And that helped to sharpen me. Sometimes it wasn't always good. My father it was too much sometimes. He really was too much. But I'd prefer that than having a soft man raising me, you know? And maybe you can tell in my character sometimes. I'm like a bull in a china shop sometimes, you know? A bit too direct, and that's from him. But yeah, that was my role model, man. That was my role model. What's your thought on wives who disrespect husbands without a valid reason, even if he's in the right and wants to resolve problems that woman wants to stretch and acts toxic? I don't know your situation personally. Maybe you are in the wrong. I don't know. But there are women who find it hard to respect men. Argumentative, toxic women who find it difficult to respect men and enjoy the chaos of argumentation. Wallahi, I swear by Allah. I had a young lady say to me once, she said to me, I cannot imagine being in a marriage where we're not fighting. I can't imagine. I said, what the blood clot am I hearing right now? I said, are you serious? Are you actually saying this? She said to me, what do you expect? That's all I grew up in. I grew up in chaos. I grew up in chaos. I can't imagine a life without chaos. That's all she knows. And I said it before, if that's all she knows, then that's all she's going to do. So before even getting involved with these type of women, you need to look at their family. Our elder generations, they knew what they were talking about when they would look into the family. What were the family like? What's mom like? Dad like? Brothers and sisters. If she grew up in chaos, she will self-sabotage and bring that chaos into the relationship, because that's all she knows. All she knows is chaos. Hope that helps. Right, let's see. View this request. Go live. Bismillah. No, it's have to climb. Mona? جيب لي ماء من فضلك. A strong man would not have it. My husband would put me in my place if I get a bit loud, and if I called the police, he would beat me and beat them. Yes and no, Sadie. It sounds to me like you're a woman who can easily respect her husband. But if a woman cannot easily respect her husband, even an alpha male, like a strong alpha male type character, is going to struggle with her. And I just say, gentlemen, just stay away in the first place. Just stay away. Because she's going to constantly competency test you. Constantly. Thank you. Real Hassan Mughal. Yes, sir. What's going on, bro? How do you be romantic without being too much of a simp? I mean, are we talking in marriage or out of marriage? If it's out of marriage, none of that romantic shit, bro. Forget that. In marriage is a different story. So tell me, is it in marriage or out of marriage? Interesting question. Do you think people that have been single for long periods are difficult to court and marry as they have found comfortability in solace? I don't know, to be honest. You tell me. I don't know. I think that's quite plausible. Maybe. I don't know. Real Hassan Mughal. In marriage. Yeah, well, you need to be a bit romantic with your wife every now and again. You need to. I gave the lobster example the other day. Maybe you weren't on the live. The lobster walks around with its shell all day long. But when it wants to mate with its partner, it removes its hard shell. And now its soft, fleshy body is left exposed and vulnerable. But only in that way is the lobster able to be intimate with the female lobster. And then after they finish being intimate, he puts his lobster shell back on again. Now, what does that mean? It means for the most part, this male lobster is walking around with his hard shell. He's stoic, he's hard, he's like, he's a man's man. But then at certain times of the day, every now and again, he has to take off his shell, his hard armor, and expose his fleshy nature, his fleshy body. That leaves him exposed and vulnerable, yes, but it's part and parcel. I call it the spice of relationships. Spice in a food is nice when it's just a little bit. A bit of spice makes the food really good. Makes the food delicious, actually. Too much of it, you spoil the food. Not enough of it, and it's bland, there's no taste. So you will have to find that balance. I hope that helps. All right, if you want to come on, send me the invite now because we're going to be ending this soon. I'm going to look for one more question. Naila, you got a couple of questions for me. Okay. What advice would you give to a woman who is in an abusive marriage? It's a good question. The first question I will say to you, Naila, is this. Is your husband, or maybe it's not you, is this sister's husband a psychopathic Jack the Ripper type character who loses his shit at the drop of a hat? Or does this individual you're referring to have something to do with his abusive nature? Now, let me be clear here. There's no excuse. There is no excuse for a man to beat his woman, to hit his woman, okay? But we have to consider the law of cause and effect. And I said it before and I'll say it again. Women with long tongues have short marriages. Women with long tongues tend to bring out the worst in husbands with short fuses. Does your husband have a short fuse? Well, you got to make sure you got a short tongue. Because if you've got a long tongue, he's probably going to snap. Now, does that make it right? No. But you see, the thing here is, often women like to say, but he's not allowed to hit me regardless. I say, yes, I agree. But look to yourself. Are you bringing the worst out of him? What are you doing? Are you bringing the worst out of him? If you are, you need to work on yourself. Unless he's a Jack the Ripper type character, then in this case, you need to get out of the marriage, right? He's a psychopath. But I think most women are not in relationships with psychopaths. I doubt it. So look to yourself. Okay. So how do I not get attached to people? It's kind of wasting my time getting attached to people. Always, if this is courting we're talking about, you need to be spinning plates. You need to be courting multiple sisters at the same time. That's how you won't get attached. I've explained it before. It's like when you have multiple streams of income. The more streams of income you have, the less dependent you are on any of them. You're probably getting attached because you don't have any other options. All right? Poverty mindset. If she hits like a man, she can take it like a man. Well, Sadie, I mean, touche. Problem is, she's not going to get done. She's not going to get busted by the law. He will. Problematic. I mean, God, your username says it all. Let's see if you'll come on. Let's see if you'll come on. Problematic. No, of course not. He's blaming women on their husband's domestic violence. No, I'm not. I'm not saying that. I am saying cause and effect. A woman needs to ask herself, did my husband just wake up and decide he wanted to hit me? Or did you lash him with your tongue? Because women express their violence with their tongue. They don't have the physical capacity to go up physically against a man, right? But men tend to express their physical aggression physically. So I ask you, did you aggress him with your tongue? Take accountability. And this is my problem with women like you. You don't take accountability. I'd be willing to bet my bottom dollar you're a single mom. I'm going to put my neck on the line there. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'd be willing to bet my bottom dollar you're a single mom. You don't like taking accountability. And this is why I say to the brothers, avoid it. Okay. All right, guys, listen. It's been a good one. Thank you very much. I appreciate you being live. If you have any questions, hit me up in the DM. I don't get back to them immediately, but I will get back to you eventually. Take care. Have a good one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.